Okay, first video of the kiddo was out of school summer, which means my door is closed, which means we might have cats freaking out that the door is closed, but we might not. Depends on how fast I get this video over with. I thought it would be another week of nothing to show you, but last Thursday, so after I'd recorded the video, the day it was posted, I went to the thrift store in the other direction. I did find a few things, mostly parts, like I found a broken, whoever she is, her neck was completely trashed. She's missing, one of her legs was broken off at the knee, but I found it. And of course no hands, but I hear a cat at the door. But I can use the body parts. And I also found a 1990s Teresa on the chip on the gymnast style body. He says this is not why I wanted to come in here. So I found it's the Teresa on the gymnast style body, and I recognized her from that line of dolls wearing, I'll put it in quotes, corduroy, because it's actually knit with sort of almost corduroy texture, because she has not only nail polish, and now he's asking to get out. Chip. No. No. I don't know if you heard that sad little meow. Chip! So for the people who like seeing cats in the videos, I tried. The cats didn't agree. So anyway, this line of dolls, curiously, there were 3 dolls. It was a Skipper, a Barbie, and a Teresa, and they were all together thematically similar, but the series didn't have an overarching name. It's like, I forget the other, I have actually forgotten the names of the Skipper had the green corduroy and the Barbie had the blue corduroys. I think this style called like Cool Blue Barbie, but the Skipper wasn't, she wasn't wearing blue, so they didn't call her Cool Blue. So the Teresa was Perfect Pink Teresa. And I recognized the bodies because it's the old gymnast articulated body. They had painted fingernails and a painted thumb ring because it was the 90s. So I grabbed that doll and stuffed her in the bag, and when I got home I realized, I knew that her hair was cut, obviously, but also there's a nick and a gouge in her nose. So part of the reason I picked her up is because I have a ton of gymnast Barbie bodies, yes, but this is kind of an odd skin tone. It's a little, not quite orange, a little more almost actual human skin tone tan than the orange 90s Barbies. So I went through my dolls in reserve, and I had a 90s Teresa. She was a My First Barbie Ballerina Teresa from 92, I think. Anyway, so that's this combination now. I had liked her on her ridiculous My First Barbie body because it was the kind with the ballerina theme, so the legs were white, cast in white plastic with molded on and painted pink ballet shoes on the ends. But so now we have her on this body, and I did the standard heat reshaping on the hands. And I also tried grinding her feet down. They're kind of sad nubs, but I can get them into these Barbie tennis shoes that started in the 70s, kind of grew over the years. So by the 90s they were a little bit bigger than they had been, and I can get the larger size onto this foot. But looking at it, I think I need to go back again and take like a layer off the bottom, like a few millimeters off the very bottom of the foot. Then I might be able to fit her into more shoes, because the articulation on these is nice. It's not great because of course they have no wrist unless you do a little surgery and add wrist from other dolls. And the knees only bend, they don't pivot. So she wasn't making that sound before. Okay. Looks like it's... Anyway, I'll figure that out later. Just a little disturbing to bend a doll and hear it go crack. But anyway, the knees only bend, they don't pivot. So it's not a great body, but it's still, I've come to appreciate it. especially as a way to match skin tones to these odder, older 90s skin tones. So that was a doll I thrifted, like I said, odds and ends. And then a doll that I found completely as she is on the table, the random toy table in the thrift store, was this 1993 Dr. Barbie head on a modern petite body. It is a very cute combination. The skin tone is not perfect because, like I just said, the older dolls tend to have different skin tones than they use now. And Mattel changes its basic skin tones every few years. I'm pretty sure we've seen a thing saying Mattel is going to change its basic doll skin tones from here out. So dolls we bought 2 years ago might not match dolls we buy this year, next year. Yay. But I have no idea why this doll was in the store in this combination. I mean, this is the kind of combination that you do for your hobby. I mean, I have my ideas, like the 93 Dr. Barbie probably had a broken neck. And somebody got the petite probably to steal its head. So maybe, like my idea was maybe the headless petite was donated and maybe the broken Dr. Barbie was donated and somebody in the store put them together. But somebody else suggested that maybe someone had gotten the Dr. Barbie with the horribly cracked neck or whatever, or chewed up hands or something to make it a useless doll in like a variety pack of dolls. Because some thrift stores will bundle dolls together in a bag and you have to buy the whole bag for 1 or 2 dolls you like. The stores around here don't tend to do that, but I'm not saying they never do that. So maybe someone had this head laying around and they wanted to steal the petite head for something else and put this together and donated it. So I'm generally not a fan of 90s Barbies, but I really do like this combination of this head on this petite body, so she'll probably stick around for a while. And this is a dress I made years ago from cloth that someone gave me, and I only recently realized, and it's still pretty uneven, I don't know what I did. This whole side of the skirt was like a 1/4 inch longer. So I went through and I took the seam allowance bigger where the ruffle attaches, and it seems to have made it a little more even, but it's still pretty uneven, but it's still a fun dress. And then I was messing around with dolls that I had. Well, another thing that I found on that thrift table was this dress, which is obviously from a larger, probably little kid doll. And I'd say from the 60s with this groovy asymmetric collar. It's fairly well made dress. I'm not prepared to say guess if it's homemade or mass-produced, because back then mass-produced doll clothes tend to look like really nice homemade doll clothes. It's probably mass-produced, but of course I have no idea what it's from. And it is baggy on curvy here, but I just tried it on her for fun and like it. I'll probably eventually try it on other dolls to see if I can find someone else who can wear it. But so that was a thrifted doll dress. And then after the doll show, that's almost a month ago now, Lena Blue, oh sorry, I don't know which way it is pronounced. Speaking of pronunciation, I looked it up. It is Project MC Squared, not MC2, so I need to try to remember to say MC Squared in the future. Anyway, Lena Blue gave me a dress that she had thrifted, and I finally repaired some odds and ends, holes and rips in the seams and put, I'm sure it had originally been closed with a snap, but I put some Velcro, or hook and loop tape, on the back, and got this dress back on a doll. This is a ridiculous dress. There's still holes in it, a lot of holes, and probably if I tugged on it hard enough it would rip because this cloth is so, obviously it's from the 70s, delicate, and as we're finding out with toys and things in general is you can never predict how long a plastic will last until it's lasted that long, and this synthetic is not lasting. But it's a fun dress. So I have not taken pictures. I've only taken pictures of these two so far, and I put these two together and then I was getting ready to take pictures and I got sidetracked. I started sewing things. Like I'd had the pieces for this dress on my desk for weeks, so I finally got it put together. It's going to go in the sale trade pile Same with these two. I was just shuffling through some cloth and I'd had this piece, half a yard of this stuff. I actually thrifted like 6 yards of it at once. But I took half a yard off to use for other projects at some point, and I didn't make those projects, so I decided I would go ahead and just clear out that half yard. So I made this in 60 centimeter doll size. It stretches to 12 inches and it goes down to I think 6, so it should fit a number of doll sizes. And then this for MSD size. I think it goes from 9 down to... When I put these up for sale, I will put the waist stretch and relaxed dimensions on them. And I also made another one like this to put in the thanks pile. Finally getting around to thanks sewing just a tiny bit. I will do it. I haven't forgotten. I'm starting to feel guilty because I am getting a little bit back into doll sewing. Although I did over the weekend make another pair of obnoxious shorts for the kiddo, and I made a skirt for me that actually I think turned out too big because I was kind of bloated when I made it. So that was fun. And then I decided I was going to do something with my Tiffany Taylor doll. This is also Lena Blue found her thrifting, thank you. And whoever had owned the doll before, it obviously preferred the blonde side. So it had rotated to the blonde side. It had been on the blonde side for decades, and also the blonde side had been cut so that the brown side, even if you did rotate it around and get it smooth back down, which would have required boiling hot water because it was stuck in the direction of the blonde hair, it would have looked terrible. But also, not only had they preferred the blonde haired side, but they'd actually wanted it to have bangs, so they'd like cut little bits on the side and they weren't set properly. And I tried to hide the bangs. I tried to brush them back into the rest of the hair, and she was like wearing a flower crown to hide it. But you know me and dolls with natural hair color aren't not my favorites. So I finally grabbed the doll and I went through my doll wigs and I found a purple wig that fit. So I cut off all of her hair, and I decided I didn't like the purple wig that much, so I found a brown wig with big ringlets. It's really cute. Put that on her and actually glued it in place and decided I would make some, don't know why I thought this would be a good idea, but make Morike style, in the Japanese forest girl romantic look. And I made the first attempted dress for her. Now, years ago I got in the thrift store this book of fabric samples, you know, and you go look at wallpaper and they have coordinating fabric samples. Oh, and these were really nice fabric samples. It was like linens and silks all made in France and heavily embroidered, and I have them in a box back there. It's next to my dresser full of doll cloth, so not that I need more cloth. But every once in a while I get into it and I think I should make a doll dress out of this. I actually have quite a bit of it. It's just whenever I've tried it in the past, it's like, it's a lot, most of it, the linen especially, is heavier than I'm used to sewing. So it just doesn't work out right, so that makes me feel sad, and then I put it away for years and don't try again. So I decided I would try this again, get some of the linen out. But again, it was too heavy to like scale right as the kind of linen look from Mora Girls. So I went to the silk and I made the dress. And as with that red dress that I made a few weeks ago for SD size, when I got to the sleeves, I started thinking, this isn't working. But I went through and I finished it and I got the sleeves on it, and I was about ready to put the zipper in the back, and I thought, you know, this looks kind of big. And I tried it on Tiffany Taylor, and it was big in a this doesn't fit way, not a lovely romantic billowy way, because it has darts, so it should be fitted. And then I thought, well, and it was too long in the way, so I thought, well, can I take it out? Can I move it? Can I do stuff? And it wasn't working. So I looked at it and realized how big it was, and I tried it on my 60 centimeter doll. And as you can see, the fit is really, really good. This is one of the doilies that Susan sent for me to use for doll clothes. So, and then I went ahead and put the zipper in and finished it. It's not perfect fit. I'm not sure if I will keep this or if I will also put this in the sales. But actually it's the same thing about this doll. I'm not sure if I would keep her or put her in the sales because There's another 60 centimeter doll I kind of like to have, but I don't need. So I'm taking. Anyway, so this dress is technically a failure because it did not fit Tiffany Taylor, but it's a nice dress for 60 centimeter dolls. And it's silk with lovely embroidery, and there's like 2 or 3 more colorways of this same design that I still have. That's another problem I have with using this cloth from this amazing find of sample cloth from that book is I tend to use the colorways I don't like as much first, like I'm saving the greens and the purples and slightly more intense colors and using the, you know, ecru on beige stuff like this first. It's not my favorite colors, but I know they are valid. So I went through my, went back to my regular cotton cloth and I pulled out some of the cloth that I got from the thrift grab bags that I got after the doll show that I shouldn't have gotten. And there's a cloth, it's white on ivory, very muted. And there were some green stains on it, but I cut it strategically enough that the green stains, I mean, I did wash it and they didn't go away. The green stains don't entirely show up. And that fit her the way I want. I thought I'd make a pinafore to go over it, but I'd put a pocket on this one. I just left it the way it was and thought, all right, I want to give her some tights. Actually, no, first I thought, you know what, I've made this dress, I don't want her to have brown hair anymore. So I peeled the brown wig off and glued the purple wig back on, which made me say, all right, she needs purple accents in her outfit. So I tried to make her a pair of tights, and apparently just adding some feet to the Tiffany Taylor size legging pattern that I have didn't work, but that ended up making a nice pair of tights for my Hujo 45 centimeter doll. Not perfect fit. I mean, her crotch is like a ½ an inch below. Her crotch and the tights crotch don't align. Also, because this was made with my legging pattern, the seam is on the inside of the leg. When I make my normal tights and hosiery patterns, the seam ends up on the back of the leg, which I might make a pattern for that to share eventually too, but I'm not sure if I would be very good at explaining how you flip things around and don't sew things in quite the order you think they are, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So she got the tights. So it took another 2 tries for me to get the tights right, but they worked, and I had a set SD size skirt that I could put under it for a petticoat, and I cut a quick scarf, and I put the flower crown back in her hair, and I made some jewelry, a couple necklaces for her, and I used the Laurafina shoes that Eric sent, and here she is. One of the fluffiest dolls I have, I think. You know, not long after I got her, I painted her eyes brown and I painted her blue eyeshadow to be green. So it's not really Mori Kay green pastel pearly eyeshadow, but I never expected that I would make Mori Kay style for this doll. I have not taken pictures of her yet because I just finished all the jewelry for this last night when it was late and I was tired and it was dark. And it's been supposed to rain and storm, and it hasn't, but I'm sure that once I get everything ready to go outside to take pictures, it will. But I will get pictures of her up eventually. I'm pretty happy with how she turned out. I edged, well, it started because I wanted to put on this pocket. I had really just enough cloth to make this, especially when I'm avoiding some of the areas that had the big green smears on them. Although, like, there's still some green on the arm there. But since I wanted to do a curved pocket, the way my mind works, I needed something to put on the edge to flip it over. So I went to get some bias tape, but I ended up with this sheer nylon that was the header. I mean, again, it probably won't age very well. It'll probably age just as badly as this. But who knows where this dress will be in 40 years. So I used that nylon quote bias unquote tape on the edge of that ruffle, on the edge of her sleeves, around the pockets, and on the neckline, and I used the last little bit to make the bow. And so I actually got some doll stuff going last week. Can't promise I will again this week, because one of the things we're going to do after I finally get the kiddo to the dentist is we're going to stop at Joann Fabric, and I'm going to let him pick out some obnoxious cloth to make obnoxious clothes out of, eventually. Because everything I do is eventually, right? I guess that's why you keep coming around, to see what I've finally done. So, thanks for hanging around. I finally got doll content back, and hopefully I will again next week. Thanks for watching.